What's up, YouTube? Oracle Apps DBA girl. Uh, as you all can see on the screen, I have how to become an Oracle Apps DBA. I wanted to talk about this because I've said previously that I am an Oracle Apps DBA. I did a few videos on how to become an Oracle DBA, but more specifically, I am an Oracle Apps DBA. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and also I wanted to just talk about, like a reflection. It's been 2 years for me, so I just want to let you all know some of the things that I've learned over the past 2 years. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Okay, I have my journey background. As you all can see, January 2012 to June 2012. That was the time I took to study OCP. Well, OCA, I'm sorry. I definitely apologize. OCA. I studied OCA for 6 months. And when I completed my OCA training, I went ahead and started applying for jobs. So while I was applying for jobs, I also took my certification. And as you all can see, I received that July 2nd, 2012. And that's my OCA. Basically, I'll say here it is, September 2012. A few months after I was certified, I got a job as an apps DBA at WVU. You all can imagine, anybody who know what all is covered from OCA. I had no clue what I was doing as an apps DBA, but thank God for WVU. They definitely made sure I was well equipped. At WVU, we did both core DBA stuff as well as apps DBA stuff. So they brought me up to speed on a lot of the core stuff that I was not able to get in my training. There's a lot of stuff in OCA that is not necessarily covered. You just have to get on hands experience with the database. And OCA in no way prepares you for the role as an apps DBA. I remember the first few days I was there, I was like, wait, I feel like I only learned 10% of what I'm actually going to be doing. In the beginning, it was a little bit confusing because I felt like I wasn't doing any DBA work. I felt like it was just all application, but I didn't train to be an application DBA. I trained to be a DBA. So I was so confused. Learning Oracle EBS was definitely way different than, just all the things that you learn in uh, preparing for the OCA. Uh, but am I glad it happened that way? I truly am, because I am so in love with being an applications DBA. I think everybody should go towards that route, but I've heard from core DBAs they prefer being a core DBA versus an apps DBA. Anyway, I work for West Virginia University from September to 2012 to 2014. I got a job from CSC, Computer Science Corporation, and at this job, my focus is applications DBA. I like that because it gives me the opportunity to learn the applications just more in detail. Uh, and the applications range from Oracle EBS. We have quite a few that we work on, but we'll talk about that later. Um, I also wanted to just say here that everybody's experience will be different, but for those who really truly want to become an app DBA, I definitely think that you should definitely um, have some type of DBA experience, some type of core DBA experience. I did want to make that known, and that'll bring us over to our next slide: steps to take in order to become an applications DBA. I have gained certification and applied to colleges small shops to gain more experience. As I just stated, I definitely think that you want a core DBA background of some sort. It just helps on so many levels. Now, is this the only way to go? No, this is not the way that I went. So, and I think, as a matter of fact, I have becoming a core DBA first. You don't necessarily have to, because I didn't, but I can definitely see how um, it is sufficient to learn the core DBA side first, because um, as an application DBA, you do have to understand what's going on with the database at times. A lot of times, there's been some times where I've gotten errors in the applications, and it stems back to the database. To give an example, we just had a issue in an application that we were working on. Um, it was with a username and password, but it was in the applications. Being that it was in the application, but it was a username and password, I'm thinking, hey, that seems username and password, that goes back to the database. So I had to contact the core DBA, and I let them know, like, hey, can you check my username and my password to see what's going on? I'm having an issue in the applications. I can't log in. It keeps saying username and password required when I'm typing it in. So when he checked, he said, do you know your password? I said, I'm pretty sure I typed it wrong about 4 or 5 times, but when I pulled up Notepad and looked at my password, I had the correct password. And he said, well, more than likely you got it wrong, so we're going to reset it, and then you should be able to log in. So if it wasn't for, you know, me knowing that username and password always stems from the database, um, we could have just spun our head by, hey, I need to log in SR with Oracle and tell them that something is going on with this application. And it just helps to know what's going on first with if you know what's going on in your database, it'll be very easy for you to troubleshoot sometimes when you're having potential problems in an application that sounds like they could lead back to the database. But if you don't have that database knowledge, you a lot of time your head will spin with issue that arises. I have honed in on DB skills, work on a virtual system often on your own. I am a big fan of uh, installing VirtualBox, installing databases, installing application all on that VirtualBox, because that's hands-on experience. That's you learning. Um, that's you learning on your own, and I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about the database. I installed my applications. A lot of times I do this so that I can break stuff. Uh, and I also, what I'll do is, let's say I have a project coming up at work, I'll go home and do it on my system first. Therefore, I've eliminated potential problems that I can run into when I do it at work. So having a virtual system, if you're trying to become an application DBA or just a core DBA in general, the virtual system and working on your own workstation is definitely a great way to go. I definitely think that this is a great way of building your database skills, and um, the more you get into it, the better you just become. I also have, excuse me for spelling that wrong, but find a mentor and or people to study with. Um, my mentor, I can call him, I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm having this issue. What do you think this is? And because he has 15 years of experience, he usually know and can always point me in the right direction. He may not know the exact answer, but his expertise does come in handy. And I have people that you can study with. I have to be honest, sometimes it's not easy studying by yourself, even for me. But when I have people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, who, like, when I started, it was about 10 of us. No, actually, it it was about 8, and then it ended up being like 5 of us, probably less than 5, about 5 though. But when I started, these people, we were all on the same journey. And so now, every once in a while, we'll just get on the phone and talk about what we're learning. We'll come up with little stuff that we can do together. I have a friend, he works with Rack heavily. So he's been helping me learn more about Rack. I helped them learn about applications. So we just help each other do different things like that. So it is good to find people that you can study with. Um, okay, also I have learned Oracle EBS as well as other applications. Oracle EBS is the main application that you're going to want to learn if you're trying to become an Oracle Applications DBA. That application is just huge. There are other type of application DBA that don't do Oracle EBS. There's PeopleSoft, I think, Banner. These are other different types of application DBA, but the most common that I've seen are people who specialize in Oracle EBS and they work with other Oracle applications. So definitely learn as much as you can about Oracle EBS Suite. And I have troubleshoot everything in IT, because everything comes in handy. You guys, when you are working on your virtual machine, you're basically a system administrator. And it's so much that I have to learn how to do as far as being a system administrator. I'm always Googling because I didn't have a strong Linux background. I didn't know Linux when I became an Oracle Application DBA. I learned Oracle on a Windows environment. And when I became an application DBA at West Virginia University, they taught me Linux. And over the last 2 years, my knowledge in Linux has slowly been increasing. So you definitely would need to know Linux. If you have, myself, I had A+, Network Plus. All that stuff came in handy. Just knowing how to troubleshoot networking issues, knowing how to fix a computer, just knowing these things, they all come in handy when it comes to being a database administrator. As a database administrator, I don't want to say you specialize, but you're going to learn different technologies. You need to know different technologies. There's a saying that says know everything about one thing and know one thing about everything. I would say know everything you can about Oracle EBS, but know one thing about everything else. As far as the application, just learn as much as you can. But when it comes to Linux, when it comes to networking, when it comes to I don't know, just all kind of stuff, because you're gonna run into network issues on your database. You're gonna run into so much, especially if you're working from home on your virtual system. You're gonna run into so many errors. So I definitely say know how to troubleshoot everything. I can't stress that enough. Also, I have apply, and keep on applying. Jobs, I'll be honest and say they came to me. So many jobs come to me. Ever since I became an Oracle Application DBA, I'll be honest and say I don't have to apply for a job because of LinkedIn and this YouTube channel. Jobs just, they find me, and I'm thankful to God for that. But when you're just trying to get started, I definitely think that you have to keep applying. I also have apply within your skill set. What I mean is, I've come across a lot of core DBAs and, well, not many application DBA, but mainly people who they just received their certification and they're applying for 90,000, 100,000 plus jobs. I definitely I think that's a bad idea. Um, and the reason why I think that's a bad idea is because you all don't know when you're applying for these jobs and you have no clue what you're doing. You just started. You probably just got your certification. So why are you applying for jobs that's on a manager level? Um, I don't think that that's healthy. I actually had a friend who we just got our certification, and he got a job making, I think, $96,000. But there was a lot up there that he couldn't do. So imagine what happened. He ended up losing that job. I would say start out small, because when you go to these interviews, what's going to happen is they're going to ask you what's on your resume. If you put backup and recovery on it, they're going to ask you, how would you back up a database? How would you restore a database? How would you restore it from this point in time? If you can't answer those questions, you may have a problem. And then there are some people that learn how to answer the questions just to get a job. But when you get the job and you're thrown into these situations, when you're troubleshooting in an Oracle environment can be extremely challenging. It can be a lot of pressure is on you. You learn how to deal with that pressure over time. But when you're coming in as a brand new DBA, it's some stuff that you're just not ready for. So if you're just coming in and you're trying to be an application DBA, I will go back to what I said. Apply to colleges and small shops so that you can gain more experience, so that you won't be so pressured. And I think that's the best way to go. There's a website, I just came across it. It's called higheredjobs.com. Go there and apply to colleges. From what I can tell from the colleges that I've seen and the ones that have been trying to recruit me, they're all looking for applications DBA. I will say this, when you work at a college, I didn't start out making a lot of money. Working at WVU, they paid me well, but okay, I was making more money than I had ever made my entire life, but I was underpaid as a DBA. I can't say that. Right now, I'm right where I should be. So I do want to bring that part out. When you go to smaller shops and colleges, you may be underpaid, but you're still paid exceptionally well, um, in terms of most jobs. Let's say that. So moving right along. Okay, I have applications to learn. Um, okay, for my first bullet, I have learn the application, learn the architecture of the product. Um, okay, let me give you all the way that I learned a product from Oracle. The first thing I do is I learn the architecture. Then after I learn the architecture, I learn how to install it. Then after I learn how to install it, I learn how to configure it. And those are the main three things I learned. The reason why I do it that way, um, okay, well, I'll give you all my experience. Um, when I was working at WVU, the first thing I was taught was, okay, Marche, I want you to go read about architecture. Go learn how this application is set up. And I didn't understand why I was reading about the architecture, but the more I learned about the architecture, the more it began to make sense to me. And even when you're studying OCA, the first, I think, chapter 2, it talks about the architecture of the database. So the architecture, knowing how the product is set up, knowing how the foundation is gonna help you a lot. Even though I had the architecture and I understood the architecture of Oracle EBS, there was still so much I did not understand. And one of the reasons is because I'm the type of person, you can't put me in the middle if you didn't explain the beginning to me. And you automatically come in. When I came into WVU, their shop was already set up. They already had Oracle EBS installed. But I couldn't wrap my head around the product entirely because I felt like I need to install this application to know how it works. And I felt like I was really missing that. Now, I will say this. I have successfully installed Oracle EBS, but first coming in the gate, I didn't get a chance to do that. First coming in the gate, I couldn't understand why would you all put someone in the middle of a product instead of allowing them to go from the beginning and then work their way up. A lot of times when you come in these shop, their application will already be up. It's gonna be up to you to go learn how to install that product. I'll be honest, it took me about a year to learn how to install Oracle EBS, and you do learn a lot about it as you begin to install their products. I don't know if any of you all know, but installing Oracle EBS is a beast. That thing, it takes something out of you. You definitely go through some growing pains installing Oracle EBS. It also makes you appreciate what all this product is capable of. But with any application, I would say learn to install it. Another thing is I could say Oracle EBS is the hardest product you will ever have to install. But after Oracle EBS, you're pretty much okay. Everything else is pretty simple to install. If you can install Oracle EBS, everything else is a piece of cake. You may have to do a lot of reading again on the architecture, and just each product is different to install. And Oracle, they're always coming up with these different versions, updating versions. So with each version, there will be a different way of installing stuff. So after you learn to install it, learn to configure these products on your virtual machine. Just learn, how do I do this and how do I set this up, because it's learning those type of things. Well, I have from a DBA perspective, definitely. You don't have to learn from a functional perspective, but a DBA perspective, because learning to configure that product is gonna help you learn that product more efficiently. The more you know that product, the easier it's gonna be for you to troubleshoot an error. I have that you're limited in troubleshooting. The reason why is an application DBA and you're working from home, you're limited in troubleshooting because you're not gonna really get errors unless you have a functional person working on your environment. Most of the times I don't get a lot of errors, but at work I get a lot of errors and I have to troubleshoot these issues, and you're gonna be limited working you're gonna be limited in troubleshooting errors when you're working from home. But if you learn the architecture and you learn to install the product and you learn to configure the product, just that alone gives you a lot to do. Knowing those things will help you so much when it comes to troubleshooting issues that you have within the applications. And I have products to learn to starting out with. At least for now, you guys, I have once you have your OCA and you have a good backing of the database, start out learning the architecture of Oracle EBS. If you can install it, great. If you can get the resources to install it, awesome. The resources itself, you need at least, well, from my opinion, because I've seen people do it on a 4 GB machine, but I would say go with 16 gigs. If I'm gonna have a work environment with Oracle EBS, I want it to be right. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm gonna get a 16 GB system before I really go in hard on teaching Oracle EBS videos. But the best thing I could say is learn the architecture of Oracle EBS, learn to install it, learn to configure it. And there's so much more that you can learn on EBS. On EBS, you also have learn to patch, learn how to clone it, learn how to upgrade it. There's so much. I can go on and on with Oracle EBS, and I truly love Oracle EBS. So I would say spend at least a year learning how to do that. But hey, while you're spending that year learning how to do it, apply to jobs, apply. Also learn WebLogic. A lot of products, a lot of these applications sits on WebLogic. So I would say learn the architecture of the product, learn how to install it, and learn how to configure it. And I definitely say learn Oracle OEM 12C, because for most shops, this is how they monitor everything that goes on in their database. And I'm actually going to start doing videos on Oracle OEM 12C and just work my way up. So I definitely say start learning these products, and this will be enough for a while. And then when you get a job, whatever products they have, start learning those products and learn it under this model. Learn the architecture of the product, learn to install it, and learn to configure these products. So okay, moving along. Okay, I have here 2-year reflection, my experience in the field. September the 4th, 2012. Well, it's 2014 now, so that was 2 years for me. Basically, I'm really just celebrating my growth and really just reflecting. For me, it's a great accomplishment. It's a great feeling because I'm so happy with what I do. I love my job. I love what I do every day. Going to work is never boring. It's always an experience. I can never say I'm bored. And just to see God move and to see God do the things that He's done in my life. I mean, it's such a blessing to me. So, yeah, 2 years is just great. I have here things I've learned from my experience. I was lucky to have a great mentor to begin with, and I have to be honest because I see and see more every day that it's really hard for people to find a mentor. And I say whatever you all do, don't give up. That it will come to you. Just anything you can do unconventional to get a mentor, go about doing it. I mean, my story is crazy. I just posted my resume on Craigslist, and my mentor found me. So I just say do whatever you got to do to get a mentor, but don't do anything illegal. Um, okay, I have dealing with some people. I placed that there because my experience dealing with people in this field can be both positive and negative. I've had the opportunity to meet some awesome, great DBAs, and I've definitely learned from them. And another thing too, I will be honest and say, as a DBA, especially when you're just starting out, you gotta humble yourself. You have to be humble to receive from people. If you can't humble yourself, you're in the wrong field. Because it's hard enough just trying to get people to help. But for me, being humble has really brought me a long way. But you are going to deal with some negative people. I have some DBAs, they're just not looking to train others in depth. That's really been my experience. I don't know how else to say it, and I'm not sure why that is. I've just noticed that, a lot of DBAs, they're not willing to really help a person the way that they would need help. You're going to have to really just um, work hard on your own. That's the best way I can put it. There are a lot of cocky DBAs, and I understand why, but I don't agree with it. From my understanding, just looking at myself, you know how to do something. So many people have no clue what you're doing. Um, it's a new level. It places you in a different category. Being a DBA is, almost on, you're like a manager without being a manager. You don't have anybody over you, but you have the freedom to move how you want to move. And as an application DBA, I mean, a lot of respect and power sort of come with it. And I can see how it can really make people arrogant. Um, I'm working with an arrogant DBA now. It's not a fun experience, but hey, it's just one of those things. You are gonna be around some arrogant IT people. So I just want to bring that to the light. Yeah, if you're looking for help, you just gotta keep looking and don't give up. I have worked harder, be more self-sufficient. If you want something, do it yourself. What's important to you may not be important to another person. And what I mean by that is you may want to be an Oracle App DBA, but you can't find anybody to train you. I'm giving you all the steps you need to um, learn to become one on your own. I will be honest and say you definitely need direction, but you can work on your own to become an application DBA. A lot of this stuff I've learned on my own, which is why I'm doing the video, because it's just trial and error. It's trying something new. So it may not be important to the people that you're asking, but if it's important to you, get a computer and learn how to do it yourself. That's what's so great about being in the IT environment, being in the IT world. All we need is our computer, YouTube, Google. You can figure this stuff out on your own, I wouldn't advise anybody. I take that back. Formal education is great. I can't knock formal education, but don't break your neck trying to get in the door. You know, uh, just use unconventional means to find what it is you want. I mean, it happened for me. I know it can happen for anybody else. The most money I've spent for my training and all this stuff, I probably have not spent no more than $300, $400, and that's like on the OCA book, CBT nuggets, and stuff like that. You guys, people be like, "Do I need to pay $5,000 for this training?" No, that's crazy. I mean, if you want it in a short time, I would say go for it. But I, I I'm not paying that much money to learn this stuff when I can get it just by doing it for free online. So that's just me on that. Don't get complacent. I've noticed a lot of DBAs, apps DBAs, core DBAs, they get complacent. They get these jobs and they're good. I mean, it's a lot of stability in DBA world. This job security ain't going nowhere. So they get these jobs and they get complacent. They get stagnant. They don't go study. Um, Oracle is forever changing. Every single day they coming up with new stuff. So I'll say I always get into learning, get in a habit of learning day after day after day. You know, I'll be honest and say for the first few months of me becoming an Oracle Applications DBA, I didn't have a life. I studied, but I mean, it paid off, you guys. And I know that I'm getting to the point. I'm not there yet to where I can say, okay, cool, I'm good. I can rest on the studying. I'm not there yet. I'm still studying a lot because I got a long way to go. I don't know if you all have looked, but if you look, most jobs, they require you to have like 5 years for a senior position. The reason is because you have to study this stuff to get to that level. I've only been doing it for 2 years. I'm nowhere near a senior position. There's a lot of stuff that I just have not done, and it's day by day. So don't get complacent. Just keep studying, keep studying, keep studying, keep studying. Last but not least, make sure God is first. I'll be honest and say my experience have been awesome. It's been great, but that doesn't mean that I have not had any bad uh, situations with being an Oracle Apps DBA. Sometimes you're just under pressure, and I just have to get a situation to God, and 30 minutes later, I get some information that I know I didn't know, and I just attribute all my success to God. Success in troubleshooting, success in dealing with people. Just there's so many. I can go on and on giving y'all scenarios of how I know God has really, really done this for me. There's just some of this stuff I know I don't know on my own, and some of this stuff he placed it in my lap, and so I just want to like just say, you guys, God have to be first, because you're gonna deal with some hard times on the job, off the job, everywhere. So putting Him first is the reason I've grown as fast as I have within the last 2 years of my life. So I want to just make sure I say the best for last. So make sure you put God first in your life. And how what to expect and connect with me. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing videos for applications DBA. So a lot of my videos that come out will be centered around just applications, just to let you know going forward. In the future, I don't know when, but hopefully in the next few months, um, you all would definitely start to see Oracle EBS suite tutorials. Um, I am working towards getting a good workstation. I don't want to just get anything, and I want to get something really, really good. If I'm able to do this, it's gonna really be expensive, but hey, I want it, and I'm at the place to where I can't afford it, but at the same time, I'm in no rush. But I do plan on doing Oracle EBS tutorials. Also, I want to take blogging to the next level. I will create a Facebook page, a Twitter, and a regular blog. And I also have that you all can email me at oracledbagirl@gmail.com. I'm pretty responsive, so if you need something, just let me know. But I hope this has been informative for you all. I hope you all get something out of it. Just feel free to ask me any question that you may have. That's the end of this tutorial. Well, not tutorial, but end of this reflection. So, God bless. Oracle DBA Girl signing off.